Smita ma'am, we will start.
We'll start now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right. So very good evening, everyone. So today I am Smita Mukherjee and I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Management Studies, Vidyalankar Institute of Technology. So today we are going to talk about preparing for group discussion and personal interview. Now this topic is not a very new topic to talk about. It's a very, a very classic topic when it comes to students and when it comes to because all the students ultimately when they come for an education, the final aim of the education is to get a job, not only to get a degree but ultimately to get a job. And in fact, in a lot of institutes you must have already seen that the students get job even before they actually get the degree. So from that point of view also, while you are in in the education field itself, you will have to prepare for these kind of group discussion and personal interview. Now let me tell you, this group discussion specially is not a part of a very Indian concept or scenario. So Western countries, they started realizing that we need different kind of selection levels, and only interview is not the is not a sufficient medium to find out about a candidate. So then they started devising different modes and different ways of selection of a candidate. Also, when any company is hiring in bulk, okay, so like especially for engineers, you must have seen that any company which comes to the campus, they hire 100, you know 100 engineers, 150 engineers, so on and so forth. So, and for that, at least you will find 200 to 250 engineers, eligible people. They actually sit for one company's campus interview process. So it is a very good way and mechanism for any organization to, you know, to remove the chunk. Okay, a lot of people. So you will find aptitude 350 people sat, and directly 150 people were cut short, because it's not possible for any organization, for any HR or any company to sit and interview 350 people, so on and so forth. So first they generally take an aptitude test. Then they take a GD is also a very good way of removing people from the process, because a basic skill of communication, what is your knowledge about current affairs, what is your knowledge about social issues which are going on in the nation or in the locality. Then it could be related to corporate, it could be related to politics, it could be related to religion, a lot of other things. So they come to know the immediately the basic things that any company or any HR checks during GD is whether there is a basic communication skill which is there at place or not. We will see in detail when we go ahead in the presentation that what all skills generally during GD uh, HRs look at or organizations look at. But then, yes, so then it's a very good way. GD is a very good way of removing the chunk, and then you get to see at least minimum 10 participants at a time. So you will find that the group discussions generally happen, uh, minimum number of participants you will find 6 to 8, and maximum number of participants you will find somewhere around 13 to 14, 15. So you can see that at a time you can see actually 15 participants together. You can check their communication skill, and on that basis you can simply select one or two out of each GD. So even if you conduct 4 GDs of 15 people each, you are kind of seeing 60 people, and in half an hour's time. So it hardly takes 2 hours to for HR to look at 60 people together. And then if from each GD also, if they select 3, so then 3 multiply by 4 GD, you will have 10 or 12 people. Then then for those 10 or 12 people, you will find that there is a elaborated process of interview. Sometimes it lasts from somewhere around 15 minutes to 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour also. It depends upon the candidate, interviewer and interviewee process, so on and so forth. So this is the basic idea of what is GD, why GD has come into picture, and a personal interview was definitely already been there, but why GD has come into picture. So let us understand what do organizations or HRs look at when they conduct GD as a part of recruitment, and as a student, how do you want to, how you can prepare your best for these particular job selection process. Okay, so let us go ahead. So as you all already must be knowing what is group discussion. So group discussion is nothing but it is a discussion among, we can say, candidates. So here you would be job candidates, okay, or you would be a potential employee of any organization, or you must be seeking job, or you will be seeking job somewhere. So that would be, this GD is a part of one of the selection process of an organization, and you will find yourself amongst other candidates, sitting in front of other candidates, or okay, or sitting with other candidates, okay, and you will be discussing, okay. Now discussing is a very important word. We'll talk about it when we go ahead during the session. So you'll be discussing about a topic. It's not about finding who is right or who is wrong. It's not about finding whose perspective is correct or incorrect. It's all about, you will have to just keep your perspective about the topic. Whatever you know, you will have to put in front of the people. Okay, put it in front of the people, the group with which you are discussing, and of course the HRs or whoever is evaluating you. So you are going to just put your perspective, you are just going to put your thoughts, and it is going to be, it is a healthy discussion that you are going to be doing. It is not about telling people that you are not right, or other people telling you that you are not right, so on and so forth. So it is just about somebody else is putting their point of view in front of you, and you also have to put your point of view in front of others, and then there is a healthy discussion which goes on, okay, about. And now that topic, most of the time the topic is given by the interviewer or by the selection committee itself. Sometimes what happens is, you also, it might be, there might be a possibility that you have been asked that, okay, you come up with any topic, and then on that topic we will discuss. But generally this is, the chance of you selecting a topic is very less. But yes, that can also happen in such cases. So you should not be completely unaware of the scenario that the recruiter is asking you to select a topic, and then you are totally perplexed. Okay, I don't know that we did not know that we also had to select a topic, so on and so forth. So it might be possible in some cases. So this is what is GD is all about. Now let us see the basic idea, get a basic idea of what GD is. So generally in GD you will find that there are 8 to 15 participants. So minimum 6 to 8 participants, maximum 15 participants. More than 15 participants, it becomes difficult for the interviewer or the selection committee to identify who has spoken what, identify skill sets, identify strengths, so on and so forth. So that's the reason why generally it is kept up to 8 to 15. So you will find in a typical GD, you'll be sitting with 7 more people, 8 more people, 10 more people, 15, 14 more people, so on and so forth. Okay, and you will be one of the participant of the GD. Now, generally, you will find seating arrangement like I earlier, if you see in the earlier slide, it is a round table discussion. Okay, so sometimes either you may sit in a semicircular manner, or you may sit in a totally circular manner. It depends upon what is the infrastructure that the institute is providing, or what is the, if you are going to the organization and doing the GD, then in that case, what kind of infrastructure the organization is providing. But most of the time you will find it is in a semicircular way. It's not even round, because what happens in round, suppose if I am sitting here, and so if it is round, so like for example, if I am sitting here, and backside of basically these uh, participants. Okay, so and I'm not able to see their facial expressions, I'm not able to see with how they are speaking, so on and so forth, and I want to see it. So generally you will find most of the time the seating arrangement is done in a semicircular manner. Okay, then allotment of a topic. Generally the topic is given to you, and the topic can be anything under the sun. Okay, sun, moon, sky, anything. But generally the topic, you will find it could be either any current issue, It could be based on any regional aspect. It could be based on any social aspect. It could be based on political aspect, national or any global importance. So these are the areas from which generally you get sorry, these are the areas from which generally you get a topic. Okay, now it's totally your luck whether you know about the topic or you don't know about the topic. But generally for graduation level, undergraduation level, engineering level, the topic is given in such a way that it's not a very new topic. But then yes, if you have to prepare, you should be aware about what is the current thing going on in the so it could be any technology related discussion also. You never know. All right, so then we talk about time for preparation. So generally what happens is in any GD, uh, you are given a topic, then you are given 2 to 3 minutes to just gather your thoughts, collect your thoughts, so on and so forth. And you in that 2 to 3 minutes, you will have to just gather your thoughts. Okay, ideally for whenever you are going for a GD, please ensure that you are carrying a notebook, a pen with you. Okay, or please do not carry a hanging paper with you. Carry a proper notebook, okay, and carry a pen with you, because if they ask you that you have to, if they give you a time to prepare, you need to jot down your points, and it should not look at that point of time that you are not prepared for it. Okay, you are not prepared to write down the points, and then you are asking papers from somebody. It looks very clumsy. So and very unpreparedness on your part. So always carry a notebook, okay, and a pen with you. So whenever they give you, ask you to prepare, give time to prepare. Okay, you can jot down your 2 to 3 points, and then you can start the GD. After 2 to 3 minutes, whatever time has been allotted you. Generally, the time for GD is 8 to 10 minutes. Okay, so you can see if there are number of participants is 15. You will not get even 1 minute to talk. Okay, if I consider that everybody wants to speak, and you will not even get 1 minute to talk. So you'll have to be really quick in what you want to say. You'll have to be very effective in what you want to say. You'll have to be very clear in what you want to say. You'll have to put your point across in the English language. I understand that that's not your mother tongue, but then you'll have to be extremely effective in terms of when you are speaking, because if you are taking a lot of time to speak, high chances that there's somebody else will come and cut your point and take your point and talk about it further. So it's very essential. In some cases you may not get any time also. There's no time allotted to you for preparation, so they just give you a topic and they ask you to start. So in those cases it is even more difficult to prepare. So you have to have whenever there is a communication skill session or whatever grooming session college is doing, take participation in all those things. Okay, extempores, please speak during extempores. Try grab all the opportunities to speak in class. By all these ways and means only you can gradually prepare yourself. If you think that 3 years of your engineering you will not do anything, and suddenly in BE when you will be able to go and talk during the GD, it is not going to be possible. You will find only those people end up speaking in GD who are a good speaker, who have spoken in class, who participate in class, who keep speaking to the faculty, who are not afraid of expressing their opinion. So you have to build it over a period of time. So whatever a chance you get to speak in class, whatever chance you get to speak during this extempore or business communication class or any of those humanities session, please do that and prepare yourself gradually for this. It is not an overnight journey that we are talking about, that tomorrow is the GD and today you will be able to, today you will just drink something and then tomorrow you'll be able to go and speak in the GD. It's very difficult. So that's the reason why in all the entire 3 years of your engineering, you'll have to gradually prepare yourself for this. Okay, so that's one of a very important point that I wanted to emphasize when we are talking about topic on how to prepare for GD and personal interview. All right, now generally what is the role of GD in selection process? The role of GD in selection process is the selection committee or the HR or anybody who's in the panel, they want to see all these skill sets which are there on the slides. They want to see your communication skills. They want to see your leadership skills. Okay, communication skill is basic communication skill, whether you are speaking properly in English or not, whether your grammar is properly in place or not, what kind of vocabulary you are using. Okay, whether it is a vocabulary which is a proper speaking vocabulary or good vocabulary, or is it just a very shabby kind of English you are speaking. So grammar, your pronunciation, your vocabulary, your sentence formation, okay, the tone of your speaking, the confidence with which you speak, all these, your body language, all these comes under your communication skills. Okay, the more confident you are, you will speak very freely, you will speak very calmly, you will speak very confidently. But if you do not have confidence, if you do not if you lack in the communication skills, then speak during the GD. Okay, so first thing that generally any selection committee checks during the GD is your communication skill. Then second is leadership skill. So leadership skill is whether you are taking the group together ahead or not, or you are very concentrated on yourself only, that I want to speak, I want to speak. Okay, so if ideally they say that if you have spoken once or twice in a GD, you should give others a chance to speak, and you should say something like, the participants on my right or the participants on my left, so and so has not spoken so far, so may I hear your point of view also. See, the idea of GD is that you have to take the group along with you. It's not about you only talking about your individual point of view. So that's the reason why the selection committee checks a lot of leadership skill, whether you can take the group along with you, or you are only concentrated on your own points. Now, there could be two ways about this point. Okay, there are some GDs wherein, or some selection committee, depending upon the profile, depending upon the requirement of the organization, uh, they may select you on the basis of only whether you have spoken, how much you have spoken, and what you have spoken during the GD. But you can really get brownie points, or you can really get good points if you show a leadership skill and you take the group along with you, because then kind of the selection committee starts looking at you that you have a very good potential, and you have already you must have been already placed as a very good candidate in the eyes of the selection committee. So when personal interview happens, maybe your chances are little more, or you get little bit more advantage, and leverage over other candidates because of this particular fact, or because of this particular what you say, skill. Then third is listening skills. So they are also trying to see that you are not only interested in talking about your perspective, but you are also interested in listening others perspective, understanding others perspective. Okay, listening what they are saying, are you attentive enough to listen, understand? So there are a lot of times what I have seen is, when I prepare students for GD, I have seen that people they don't listen, and the point which has already been conveyed by somebody, they keep on repeating the same point just because they have not listened. They are only in their mind, they're preparing their own points to speak. Okay, and because they are only preparing their own points to speak, they fail to listen, and because they fail to listen, they don't understand that some point has been already repeated and told by somebody, and they end up repeating the same point. So that's a big no. Okay, so you have to listen to what somebody else is also saying. You can simultaneously you can build your own point, it's a different thing, but then you will have to listen to others. Okay, then behavioral skills such as how cordial you are, how calm you are, okay, how confident you are, whether your body language is composed or not. Okay, how is your posture of sitting, whether you have a smile on your face or not. Okay, whether you are getting irritated, agitated because somebody else is speaking, you are not getting chance to speak. Okay, do you take up any aggressive body language or not? So all these are your behavioral skill. Those such things would be monitored. Okay, then reasoning ability is basically logic, Okay, so you'll have to talk logically during the GD, which is what they generally check during the GD. And your confidence and creativity means how much new points you can come up with, and what are the different areas and dimensions you can cover in a GD. That also would be very important. So this is basically the role of GD in a selection process. They check all these skill sets. Okay, now again, these skill sets are not to be meant for building in one day, okay, or 2 days, or so you have to again build the skills over a period of time. So communication skills, if you just enter into a engineering and you realize that your communication skills are not good enough, speak to your mentor, try and speaking to some faculty, tag along with some buddy or friends with whom you can speak in English. These are the things you can do right from the start or from the beginning, okay, to aim a good getting placed into a good organization. So these things you'll have to keep doing since the beginning. So when I say how to prepare for GD, you'll have to start doing it very early. You can't go in BE and start doing all these things. It would be very difficult for you to build all those things at that point of time. So you will have to have these things in mind since the beginning, and you'll have to go ahead gradually. Then next is, okay, now there are different types of participants, okay, in a GD. Just one second. So there are different types of participants in a GD. Now, why I have kept this slide is because you will have your own strength. So it's not necessary that so I'm sure that you will fall definitely in any one of the categories that is being shown on the slide. Okay, so now, so you will find that in a GD, in a typical GD, there is somebody who would be an initiator. So somebody who would be an initiator means what? They would always, you will find that they would jump and they will just grab the opportunity to start the GD. So you will find that there are some participants who already have this in them, and they can start a conversation very, very nicely. Okay, so those are called as initiator. Those who can start the GD. Okay. Then data provider, you will find that there are some people who always like to talk in numbers. Okay, and if luck is with them, they might get a topic wherein they already must have read somewhere some data, or must have know some data, or maybe on that day there must be a news headline where some data has been given and they just remember it. And then, so there are a lot of people who talk in terms of data. Okay, so you will find that they will keep providing a data in the, if the topic is of as such that you can provide data, you may find that there are some people who may provide data while they speak. Next is criticizer. Now, criticizer, as in, they will always so they will not criticize as such in the GD, but you will find that you will make a point and they will immediately counter argue with another point, or with a different point of view. Okay, so those are called basically criticizer. So criticizer are not those who will say, no, you are wrong and you are not right, and this is what I'm saying, you are not speaking it right. They will not talk like that. So criticizer are somebody when the moment you put one point, okay, the other person will start immediately, will start putting another point and counter argue, or a very divergent kind of point. So those are called as criticizer. And those are also evaluated well or scored well. They get good marks in the GD also, because they constantly kind of challenge other participants. Okay, and the moment one perspective is put on the table, they immediately come up with a different perspective, or totally opposite perspective, which is also a good point when you discuss something. Okay, supporter is basically nothing but it is little related to the leadership quality. And if you see on the right hand side, I have one participant is leader. So leader or supporter is basically, once you have spoken or twice you have spoken during the GD, these are those people who say, why don't we give others a chance to speak? Why don't we tell him to speak? Or why don't we tell this participant or this particular person to speak. He or she has not spoken so far, so on and so forth. So these people also score very well during GD. So if you have spoken once, if you give others a chance to speak, you are going to be really scoring very, very good points in GD. Okay, so not necessary that you have to make 4 points, 5 points during the GD. You can make 2 points, okay, 2 new points in the GD, because it is only going to be 8 to 10 minutes. So I told you earlier only that considering there are 8 to 15 participants, you are not even going to get 1 minute to speak per part. Each participant does not even get 1 minute to speak, so hardly 30 seconds, 20 seconds. So you'll have to speak what you want to speak. So if you have spoken twice, and if you have said during the GD that let us hear from somebody else, let us hear from so and so, let us hear from our friend so and so, because we haven't heard from them, you are really going to score a lot. So always have this thing in mind, that if you have spoken once, a new point; if you have spoken twice, new point, and then you are asking others to speak, I think you have aced the GD, and your selection during the GD is very, very high, unless and until the points you have spoken is very stupid, irrelevant, or something of that sort. Okay, so if you have made a valid point, if you have made relevant point during the GD, and if you are also asking others to speak, and then after listening to you people speak actually, so then I think your selection is given. Okay, I don't think so any HR or any selection committee is going to reject you. All right, then next is questioner. So you will find somebody who keep questioning others point of view, so those are questioner. Okay, those are also kind of good scorer, because they the idea is that they always bring they don't take anybody's point of view for granted. They always question, and so basically they look at that how you are going to be performing when you actually come into the organization. So whenever these kind of discussion will happen, you will raise a lot of questions, and on the basis of those questions, a lot of people, you will enable a lot of people to think on that direction, basically. So that is questioner. Spectator is basically those who are just sitting quietly and listening. And last but not the least is, you will find that the first one, who's an initiator, and there is somebody who is a summarizer. So if you have not been able to initiate the discussion, please take a chance and try and summarize the GD. But for that, you have to be very, very attentive throughout the GD. You'll have to make a note of all the new points which has been made during the GD. Okay, and while summarizing, you'll have to quickly, within 30 seconds, you'll have to talk about what all perspective has been spoken about during the GD. All right. Now, why I have kept this slide types of participant is because you identify what is your strength, identify whether you are a good initiator, identify for yourself whether you are a good summarizer, identify whether you can be a good data provider. Okay, and which kind of, identify whether you can be a good leader or supporter, might be possible. So identify yourself, your strength, and play according to your strength. All these participants, they get good score in the GD. Apart from, if you are only spectator, then it's a very difficult thing. Okay, so you will find that there are some people who are only spectator, they don't speak at all. So generally spectator, if you are a participant who is a spectator kind of participant, the chances of selection in the GD is very weak. You have to take roles like initiator, data provider, okay, so on and so forth. So you make a new point, and on after making these point, if you can take any of these role depending upon your own strength, it is going to be very, very useful for you, and your chances of selection in the GD is very high. So then next is, this is very important slide. What are the expectations of the panel from the candidates? So you can see the panels expect you to be a team player. Okay, so here is when you if you make statements like, we have not heard from so and so, why don't we listen to him or her? So that shows that you are a good team player, you are taking the group along with you. Okay, they also expect you to have some reasoning ability, logical reasoning, speak with logic, so on and so forth. They also look at whether you can lead a discussion or not, whether you can start the discussion, whether every time you are the one who are coming up with new dimension or giving new dimension to the GD, giving new thoughts to the GD, giving new inputs to the GD. They're also seeing whether you are flexible enough to adjust to others' thoughts, or the thoughts which are not supporting your point of view, whether you are flexible enough to accept it, digest it, listen to it, entertain it, so on and so forth. So this particular thing also they generally check during the GD. Then you talk about assertive. Assertive is basically a skill wherein you are saying no. So let us say you don't agree to somebody's point of view, and how politely you can say that you disagree with the other person's point of view with a good logic, okay, with a good reasoning. Then I think you get a lot of marks. Then of course the next is again whether you are initiating, what kind of initiative you are taking during the GD, whether you are inspiring others to speak, whether you are let us say you speak during the GD that so and so has not spoken, why don't you speak, and that person actually speaks. So that means you get a chance of you get a marks on inspiring others to speak, so on and so forth. So these are all creativity they check, which we have already spoken. They check about your knowledge, awareness about current affair, current issues, and then they finally check about how well how good listener you are, so on and so forth. All right, so this is the expectation in terms of skill sets from a participant. Okay, this is the expectation of the selection committee from a participant. Now again, let me emphasize this point, that this does not mean that you have to demonstrate all these skill set which is written over here. You can pick and choose one or two skill sets, you can pick and choose one or two expectations, and you can demonstrate only two expectations during the GD. You can demonstrate only one expectation during the GD. You can demonstrate only 2 to 3 expectations during the GD. Don't, you are not a superman that you will demonstrate all these skill set. It may not be possible also. But I have given you a range of skill sets. Depending upon your strength, try to strengthen your skills, where your strength lies, and then you can use that during GD. All right. So let us go ahead. Then now what to do? We'll talk about few do's and don'ts. This is pretty easy. We have been talking about it since past half an hour. So do's and don'ts about GD. So again, we will start from left hand side. Okay. So try to initiate the GD. If you are good initiator, or if you think you can take, now see, if when you are starting, make sure that you have a valid point to make sure that you have a relevant point to make. Please don't speak just for the sake of speaking. Then it is better that let somebody else speak, and then you build on their points, and then you speak. If you are not confident enough to speak at the start, don't goof up and speak. But if you initiate the GD, it would be good. So try to initiate. Always you'll have to maintain an eye contact with all the participants. Do not look at the selection committee. The idea is you are speaking to the group, okay, and you are discussing with the group. So you should not look at the selection committee, you should look at other participants of the GD, and you have to continuously make an eye contact towards the other participants. Encourage non-participants, or those who have not participated, encourage them to speak. You have to speak very clearly and confidently, okay. Do not fumble. Try and not do not use fillers word, a lot of words like I think there are a lot of people who have habit of saying you know there are a lot of people who have habit of saying right, okay, right. So you will find these kind of fillers and these kind of words being used again and again. So don't do that, okay. Bring the discussion on track. Sometimes it might be possible that somebody is speaking a point which is totally out of the coverage of the topic, or has taken the topic to a different level or to a different tangent altogether. So try and bring back the discussion on track. You will get a lot of good points for that, okay. Then listen attentively to others. So we have been talking about that the selection committee judges your listening skills, so please listen attentively to others. Then show good group behavior, okay. So be calm, be composed, do not use aggressive body language, do not shout, Okay, do not use slang. Do not raise your voice. So all those sort of things you will have to really take care of. Okay, try to be natural, please. There are a lot of people who try to fake accent. There are a lot of people who try to what you say, try to show that they are very good, but speak in your, doesn't matter if you have a vernacular kind of tone, vernacular kind of pitch, or so on and so forth, or accent, doesn't matter, but don't fake an accent. So if you have an accent, please speak with that accent, but if you still make a relevant point, I think it is good enough. But if you fake an accent and then the interviewer finds out that you are faking the accent, then it becomes even more clumsy, it becomes even more shabby. So don't do that. Okay, try to be alert always. You will have to be constantly thinking of making a new point, building on somebody else's point, when you can intervene and make your own point. Okay, so on and so forth. So try to be alert, try to be cool and calm. Okay, and yeah, last but not the least, speak second time only when everyone has spoken once. If you do that, it would be very helpful. But generally there are a lot of people, there are two ways about it. There are a lot of people who speak twice, and then so twice at least you have spoken, you can be sure that you have secured a good chance of getting selected in the GD if the points are relevant. Okay, if the points are valid, if the points are new, if the points are really adding or contributing to the GD, a new dimension, only then. Otherwise, you just speak for the sake of speaking, that is not going to help you. So if you have spoken once, or if you have maximum spoken twice, wait for others to speak and then only make another point. All right, so fine, let us go ahead. So what not to do in a group discussion? So this is also, again, do not monopolize the conversation or talk too much. Do not talk a lot. Give others a chance to speak. Do not interrupt anyone while they are speaking. It's a very, very bad habit. So please let people complete, and only then you jump into the GD. Okay, do not interrupt people when they are speaking. It's a very, very negative. You will fetch negative marks if you interrupt people while speaking. Okay, you can simply raise your hands like this if you want to speak, or if you want to make a point, so on and so forth. Then do not argue with anyone. Okay, even if you disagree, you will have to really say it very politely that I beg to disagree. I think there is another point of view to what you are saying, and I would like to add here another point of view. Something of that sort you'll have to say. You'll have to say it very nice manner. You can't really argue in a GD. You should not debate also. Even if somebody is wrong, you should not debate with them during the GD at least. Okay, so that again fetches a lot of negative marks. Then do not repeat what has been already said. Okay, and so be attentive, try to develop on others ideas. Okay, and express all the time, express a new idea. So do not uh, what to say, do not repeat. If somebody has already spoken, do not repeat their idea. So do not say, so then it shows that you are not listening and attending, paying attention to what others are saying, and then you are what to say, you are using uh, you are repeating others ideas a lot. And last but not the least, do not commit grammatical errors. I mean, apart from everything, if you end up speaking wrong English, uh, then I think it is going to be very difficult for you to go to the next level, unless and until you are extremely brilliant and you have a very good technical knowledge and very good aptitude score, and things like that. If other things are supernaturally good and in your favor, only then even committing grammatical error can take you to the next round. Otherwise it is very difficult. If you speak wrong English, it is very difficult for the selection committee to select you. All right, so with this, let us go ahead. So I have spoken entirely about GD. So always remember, you have to play to your strength. Identify the area where you can play well. So either you can show a leadership skills, or you can start the GD, or you can summarize the GD. You can show support to other participants during the GD. So these are the 3-4 areas wherein you identify your strength and try and play as per your strength. All right, and this way probably you increase your chances to getting selected in the GD. All right, so let us go ahead. So now next part is I have been told that I'll also have to speak about personal interview. Now personal interview is the next step. Okay, after GD, now once you have selected the GD, now interviewer is interested to know more about you. Okay, interviewer is interested to seek more personal information about you. Now you will find typically in a technical interview you will be asked question related to your technical field, your technical area. Okay, which is questions like theory say question. There would be questions on theory, there would be questions on concepts, there would be questions on subjects, there would be questions on application skills of a concept, so on and so forth. But especially HR round, they try and check your attitude. They try and check whether the candidate is compatible to our organization or not. So so they try and check your attitude. They try and check your attitude towards learning ability. They try and check your attitude towards whether you are a team player or not. They try and check your attitude whether you are too proud about your achievement or not, whether you are humble or not. All these things they try and check during personal interview, especially HR round. So let us go ahead. So what is personal interview? Personal interview is usually a face-to-face interaction. Okay, now I think in last 1 year, even this is not even face-to-face. It has become virtual. So even interviews happen, over a Zoom call or over MS Team call, so on and so forth. But yeah, generally in a proper scenario, in a normal condition, normal scenario, interviews are always face to face. So you can face either one person as an interviewer, or you can also face 2-3 people in the panel as an interviewer. So it depends, okay, how the setup is. Now it is little subjective in nature, means I may feel that you are a good candidate, I may not feel you are a good candidate. Some others might feel, so I may feel that you are a good candidate, somebody else might feel that you are not a good candidate. So it is little subjective in nature. But the selection team, the organization, continuously their endeavor is to constantly make it objective, as much objective as possible. But yeah, still it is little subjective in nature. Okay, now frequently asked questions during this HR interview are these. Okay, so first is tell me something about yourself. Now this is a classic question, but most of the people fumble in answering this easiest question of tell me something about yourself, only because you are not prepared with a proper answer. So whenever they ask, you feel if I have seen that there is a overconfidence among students, and they feel, yeah, the moment something is being asked about me, I'm going to ace it. Of course, I know about myself, and I'm going to speak. And there is no two way about it. But then people fail to speak about themselves, or also if they are not prepared. So my suggestion to you is, please prepare about this question. Tell me something about yourself. When they ask, tell me something about yourself, you will have to divide speaking about yourself into two aspects. First is personal, second is professional. Now most of the people end up speaking only personal, that I am so and so, I belong to a Maharashtrian or Bengali or Gujarati family, I have so many siblings, my mother is this, my father is this, that's it. And then you have nothing to talk about. So you will also have to talk little bit, your professional side, that as far as my professional side is concerned, I have done this is my education background, this is what I have done. You took engineering. Why you took engineering? What are your hobbies? Whether you have any passion, whether you have any interest, okay, whether you do something, what do you do in your leisure time? All these things the interviewer is interested to know. And if you take a lot of time, 2 minutes at least, to speak nicely about yourself, and if you really write a script about how will you introduce yourself, I think you have already made a very, very good impression on the interviewer. But most of the people, they take this question very lightly, they don't answer it properly, and they end up answering only about their family members, and that's the reason why they are not able to make that kind of lasting impression on the selection committee. So please prepare a script. Today only, whenever is your interview, ensure that you prepare a script how you are going to introduce yourself. Okay, think about it, give a thought to this question, and only then you can really master. You'll have to speak this again and again, and only then you can master this question. And don't think that this question is asked just for the sake of it, just to comfort the candidate. No, they are really interested to know that how well you introduce yourself. Okay, then why do you want this job? Questions like why do you want this job, questions like why do you want to leave your current job, generally it may not be applicable for in your case. Why do you want to leave your current job? Because in your case you'll be students, and you'll be going ahead for your first job interview. So maybe this question is not relevant, but then yeah, HRs ask this question to experienced people a lot. Why do you want to leave your current job? Then out of all the candidates, why should we hire you? So if you see this question, out of all the candidates, why should we hire you and what are your biggest strengths, this is kind of similar. So okay, they are asking the same question. They want to know what are your strengths and why should we hire you over others. So basically you have to be very very prepared and thoroughly prepared with your strengths and weaknesses. There are a lot of time interviewer directly ask questions on what are your weakness, and if you are all prepared only for your strengths and not prepared for in terms of what are your weakness, then again it becomes problem. It shows as if you do not have any weakness at all, which is not possible for a human being. So you have to be very very well prepared with your at least 2 to 3 strengths, 2 to 3 weaknesses, and for every strength and weaknesses you should have some example. For strength you should have some example, for weaknesses also you should have some example. For weaknesses especially you should have a mechanism or a plan that in future how are you planning to reduce those weaknesses or remove those weaknesses. If you can come up with a plan during the interview that okay, so this is what is the problem that I have, but then I am already working towards it to reduce it, then I think that that really fetches a lot of good marks and a lot of good score during the interview. Okay, what can you offer to the organization? Again, it's a kind of what is your strength and what can you really do for the organization. There are a lot of time when HRs ask this question, they want to see your passion towards a particular area or your field, and they see why you have come into this field, why not some other field. Other fields are well paying, paying field, so on and so forth. So why you have not gone to those field, and why this particular field, or what interest. So for example, especially in management, they ask why you have chosen marketing and why not finance and HR. So similarly, in your engineering cases, they may ask you that why you have chosen IT engineering, why not any other engineering, so on and so forth. So again, you have to have a good uh, answer, and the answer should be that this is my strength and I feel I should be best suited for this area. So for example, if somebody has to answer that why they have chosen marketing, they would say I am extrovert, I like to talk to people, I think I can influence people, I can influence people's decision, and I really like that when I'm influencing somebody else, they and influencing people to buy something, that really entice me, that really motivates me to do better, and that's the reason why I chose marketing. I think so. What you are doing is you are talking about your strength and then why you have selected. So if you talk about your strength and then link it with your area or your profile or subject matter, so then I think that again fetches you a lot of good marks. All right. So these are some frequently asked questions, though very underrated, but then because of lack of preparedness, people don't answer these questions well. Okay, then what you have to do, what are the do's during, in the interview? So before the interview, during the interview, and after the interview. So before the interview, do your homework properly. Do your homework properly means you can speak to the seniors, what type of questions the company asks. You can speak to any of the faculty member. You can speak to the placement in charge. Okay, what type of question they ask, so on and so forth. You can go to LinkedIn, speak to alumni who are already working in that particular company. You can talk to them, you can find out, and alumni are very helpful generally. Okay, they will definitely help you in all these aspects. You can speak to them. You have to really read about the company, what is its mission, vision. Okay, what is it, what do they want to achieve, what kind of projects they have, so on and so forth. Okay, so do your homework properly. Technical skills, to any which ways you are building over a period of time. So that is people know that you are, if you are studying in VIT and if your CGPA is 8, that means you have good technical skill only. So there's no two way about it. But all these small behavioral aspects really add value and increases your chance for selection. Arrive early. By arriving early, if you are already late, you will find yourself rushing. You are already half nervous because you are late, so on and so forth. So have at least good time with you, half an hour early. Arrive half an hour early. You can calm down your nerves. If you are not, you can talk to people and get your anxiety reduced, so on and so forth. Dress properly. Third is dress properly. You have to formally dress, and for that you have to know how to handle a formal attire. There are a lot of people who just doesn't know how to handle a formal attire. Okay, so they wear blazer, but they don't know when you sit. You'll have to, generally people when they sit wearing blazer, they open up their button and then they sit. But most of the time I have seen when our students they don't know, because they have they are wearing blazer for the first time and they are not aware. They just have the button on and then they sit, and it looks very weird because the blazer totally comes up like this. Okay, so all these small things you need to know. And for that you need to have a practice of wearing formal dress. So ensure that you wear formal dress at least once a month, once a week, once in 15 days, so that you have a practice of wearing formal dresses. Otherwise, at the time of interview, it becomes very difficult for you to manage. Then managing dress itself is another profile altogether. And it becomes very difficult for the students to manage their dress plus answer in the interview, and so on and so forth. So if you are comfortable with your dress, already you are looking confident, half of the battle is won over there only. All right. Then during the interview, please smile in between. If you know that you are doing well, if you are answering well, you can smile in between. There is no harm. Okay. Always, if you are shaking hands, ensure that it's a firm handshake. Please, if it is not a firm handshake, it looks very bad. It looks that you are absolutely not confident. And wait for the person or the interviewer to give their hands to you for shaking hand. You don't give your hands for shaking hand. And especially when there is a lady sitting in front of you, you should not give your hands. And if you are male, you should not give your hands for shaking hands. All right, so you should, if somebody gives their hand to you, you will have to do a handshake, but then ensure that it's a firm handshake. Continuously make an eye contact with the interviewer. Do not look here and there while answering. Do not look down. Do not look up when you are answering. Constantly make an eye contact with the interviewer or panel. Okay, if there are 2-3 people, ensure that you are looking towards all the 2-3 people in the panel. Okay, then show a confident body language. Try and speak about your achievement. Don't boast, but then please, if you really have some achievement, please speak about it. Always try and speak your responses or answer with an example. If you can give an example, that becomes really easy for the interviewer to understand what you are trying to say. And give some incident as an example that will help them to understand that, okay, this person is authentic, and whatever he or she is speaking is not a lie. It's true, because he or she is immediately giving some incident as an example. Okay. Then after the interview, you just do a parting greeting. If you have gone on your own for the interview, you can do a follow-up. Ensure that network by sometimes in between sending some greetings messages like kuch function hai, or if there is any kind of festival or if you are by chance, if you are aware of the date of birth of the person, you can do a birthday message, so on and so forth. This is how you actually network with the person. But if you are sitting for a campus interview, in that case, what happens is you may not have chances to do all these things, because follow-up will be done by the placement manager, networking will be done by the placement manager. But if on your own you are going, you can do all these things, and these are very well appreciated these days. Okay. Don'ts, last but not the least, don't dress casually. Please have a good, proper trimmed haircut, trimmed beard. Okay. Wear proper shoes, formal pants, formal shirts, if possible tie, blazer, whatever you feel you are comfortable with, you can. Okay, don't ask for salary, please. Unless and until they ask your expectation, you should not be the one to speak about salary during the interview. Okay. Don't leave your phone on. Always ensure that you either switch off, keep it on flight mode, or put it on the silent mode. Now, what happens is when you put it on the silent mode, also suddenly a message comes and there is a vibe. If you have kept it on vibration, you are speaking, and then your entire concentration goes on to that vibration. And if the vibration is too loud, then the interviewer also sometimes can hear that you are constantly getting a message, so on and so forth. So it's always better to put it on flight mode. Okay, if you don't want to switch it off, put it on flight mode. Okay, and then go for the interview. Do not lie. Please don't be dishonest during the interview, even if you lose the job. But try and speak the truth. Okay. Don't eat, drink, or chew something. This is very basic, but then yeah, still. Okay, don't speak too soft or too loud. Don't Very low voice shows less confidence, and very loud voice shows overconfidence. So you have to be you'll have to be careful about the tone of the voice, pitch of the voice in which you are speaking. Okay. And don't try to be too cool by telling jokes or something of that sort. Okay. This particular aspect, though, a lot of thing is being changing in this particular like there are a lot of people who try and make the interview also a little humorous and funny, but then that can be done only when you have a lot of experience and it is more of a discussion than interview. Okay, in that case you can really show your humorous side to the interviewer, but otherwise it is not advisable. All right. So thank you from my side. If you have any question, or if you have anything to ask me, you can either ask me now, or you can later on get in touch with me. I have my email and phone number with Akshita ma'am. So you can definitely on one-on-one also, if you want to get in touch with me, I would be very happy to answer your queries and kind of to help you in grooming for GD and PI.
Thank you so much, Smita ma'am. That was really a very important and a wonderful session.
Thank you, Akshita ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thanks
So
a lot, ma'am.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I was asking, what should we do? Should we leave the meeting, or should we wait for questions,
Yes.
or what?
Sunil sir, shall
Yes,
we
ma'am.
end up the live?
Yes, no problem.